Now that you have started preparing for the CAT, I'm sure you must be wondering how exactly to phase your entire preparation and how to understand whether you are doing a good job at it or not. So there are a few key milestones that we will be discussing in this particular video. So the first thing is, how can you crack this test? So the first stage that exists is the learn stage, wherein we will start by knowing the concepts. Now you should have a very good foundation to crack the test, and the very first stage will be to learn the concepts that constitute a majority of the application that you will need to do when it comes to cracking the test. The second stage is going to be the practice stage, wherein you are going to apply the concepts that you would have learned. So at the CAT, you will see a lot of questions that will expect you to apply multiple concepts when it comes to solving a particular question. And if you do not really know how to apply 2 or 3 concepts together, then you will struggle to answer slightly difficult questions when it comes to the CAT. So this becomes the second stage of your CAT preparation. The third stage is mock taking or test taking, wherein you are trying to figure out how exactly to sit at one place for 2 hours and keep on answering questions one after the other without loss of enthusiasm, without loss of focus, and dealing with a mixed bag of questions. So that is basically the test taking phase. Now, how do you go about the first stage or the learn stage? So the answer is fairly straightforward. You have to learn the concepts. You have to cover as much ground as is possible when it comes to learning these concepts. So you have to learn all the concepts from all the sections, all the areas, all the topics, and you should have a working knowledge of almost everything that exists when it comes to particular areas. You should also have an ability to attempt all the single concept questions, meaning that whenever there is a direct question, you should be able to answer that question clearly without fumbling at all. And believe me, there are a lot of questions at the CAT that are single concept questions which can be categorized as A-type questions that you will have to solve in your first round if you want to build a significant score. And these questions, to answer these questions, you need to be very good in terms of your concepts. So make sure that you know all your concepts well and you are able to answer at least the direct questions. Now, what all resources are there for you to prepare these concept level questions or the learn stage? The first thing is in terms of your courseware theory and your concept builders that are present as a part of your theory books. So what you will have to do is you will have to go through the entire theory. You will have to solve the basic questions that exist so as to understand what all concepts are there in a particular topic well. The second thing that will help you build conceptual knowledge are your in-class sessions or your online sessions. So what will happen in these sessions is that you will be again taught the theory that you had already done in the form of the book, and you will also be able to solve some questions that are direct applications of the concept that you would have studied. The third thing, which is a part of your class, is your class exercise, wherein what will happen is you will be solving questions which will involve a direct application of the concepts that you would have learned. Now, this will constitute your journey from a 0 percentile to an 80th percentile. So even if you just solve all those questions that expect you to just apply a concept and solve a single concept based question, you will end up getting at least an 80th percentile at the CAT. And you need to form that particular base to go to the next level. So your journey from the 0th percentile to the 80th percentile will involve understanding a lot of concepts and then being able to answer questions which are based directly on these concepts. Now, the second stage, as we mentioned, is the practice stage, wherein you will be able to apply the concepts that you would have learned in the first stage. Now, you will have to develop an ability to attempt slightly complex questions, which might involve 2 or even 3 concepts in some cases. So in the first stage, we answered all those questions that were direct in nature. In the second stage, we will be able to answer all those questions that are slightly complicated in nature. Now, the resources that you will have to go through when it comes to the application or the practice stage are practice exercises. So after each topic, after each session that you would have gone through, you will be given a practice exercise, which you can solve to apply your knowledge of that particular concept. So in these practice exercises, you will have questions which range from easy to moderate to difficult, which will be along similar lines to what you would have practiced inside the class. Now, the idea of these practice exercises is to make you become independent. so that you will be able to initiate and solve a particular question without any supervision. You will also have master classes, which are special events or special sessions that are conducted by CAT toppers and senior mentors at IMS, who will deal with moderate to difficult questions that would have appeared at the actual CAT or would be similar in terms of level of difficulty. So these sessions will give you an idea of what exactly appears at the CAT and how to deal with those kind of questions. You will also have online practice questions, which you will be able to go through, and you will be able to solve more questions on your own. Now these questions again would be graded in terms of being of easy, moderate and difficult level, and it will give you a good exposure to solving questions that are based on a certain topic. Now this entire stage will constitute your journey from an 80th percentile to a 95th percentile. So the first stage took you from 0 to 80, this one will take you from 80 to 95. Now you would have seen that as these stages progress, you will have to put in more effort to get a similar kind of result. And that is basically going to be a part of your third stage as well, which is the test taking stage. Now at the test taking stage, you will have to simulate actual test taking. So what you will have to do is you will have to take SimCats that are there, and you will have to be very comfortable while solving questions which have variations at a sectional level, meaning that you could have one section that is easy, second question which is difficult, third section which is moderate. You should be able to maintain your focus throughout these three sections. Or otherwise, you will get very excited once you see an easier section. After you see a difficult section, you will feel slightly sad, and that will impact your third section. So please don't let that happen. And to counter that, of course, you will have to go through the test taking stage that exists. It will also help you deal with the pressure of the timer. So while solving questions without any timer, you are more confident. But when the timer is counting down the seconds, then you will tend to panic a bit more. So the whole idea of the test taking stage is to get comfortable with the variations that can exist at section levels, and also to deal with the timer that exists. Now how exactly to go about the test stage? The first thing that you will have to do is you will have to take as many SimCats as is possible. And once you take these SimCats, you will also have to analyze these particular SimCats. Now, while analyzing SimCats, there are a lot of tools that exist, which include video solutions to the questions that will be presented to you, a concept called p-value. You will also have AI-enabled adaptive questions practice that will be there. So all those things will be there. You have to avail these features, and you have to improve with each passing SimCat. Now, the resources are fairly straightforward. You will have to go through plenty of SimCats, both proctored and take home, if you wish to improve at this particular stage. Also, you will have to look at past CAT papers, because only if you look at past CAT papers will you know what exactly appears at the CAT. SimCats, of course, are simulated tests that will try to mimic the level of CAT as much as possible. But of course, you also have to know what actually happens at the real test. So past CAT papers are going to be another resource that you will have to look at this particular stage. Sectional tests are also present as a part of your IMS portal. If you wish to improve at a sectional level, if you believe that, okay, one section is something there where you need improvement, then sectional tests will help you improve at a section level. And this final stage will constitute a journey from a 95th percentile to a 100th percentile. In fact, most of the students who are successful out of IMS will be the ones who will tell you that taking SimCats is basically what helped them crack the actual test. And that is basically what creates the last 5 percentile difference, which will help you achieve your dreams and get into the colleges of your choice. Now, to sum it up, the suggested timelines that exist for each of these stages are again fairly straightforward. They can vary depending on your nature as a test taker and your comfort with aptitude tests in general. But just to give you a benchmark, if you are looking at the learn stage, the practice stage and the test stage, the learn stage will take 40% of your prep time. Now, let's say for example, you are preparing for 10 months. You can prepare for 18 months, 12 months, 10 months, 5 months and so on. But just to as a benchmark, we'll say that let's say you are preparing for 10 months. So 40% of your prep time, which will be roughly 3 to 4 months, will be spent on the learn stage, where you are trying to learn concepts. The next 30% will be spent on application, which is the practice stage, which will be roughly 3 months. And when it comes to the test taking stage, it will be the last 30% of your prep time, which will be roughly 2 to 3 months. So cumulatively, if you have a 10-month calendar, this is basically how it will be divided. If you have a 15-month calendar, then you will basically be spending say 40% of 15, which is 6 months on the learn stage. You will be spending again 4.5 months on the practice stage, and again 4.5 months on the test stage. So that is basically how you will split your entire preparation into these 3 parts. You will keep on improving as you go ahead, and of course at the end of it, you will get your result, which will be the best possible result that you can achieve.